Namaste, namaste, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Awakenings Moments to Inspire. My name is Angela, or Angel with an A, is what my dad used to call me. And I am so pleased to be here with you now in this moment of co creation on this sacred numerology, sacred sequence date of an eight, an energy of the eight. So I'm so pleased to be here with you for that. There's so much going on within the community of the yoga of self-ascension and the global Minga community, all of which I'm part of, and I can't wait to share that with all of you too. So many beautiful things going on. But before we do that, why don't we do our three Ave Saw breaths together so that we get grounded and we're all in the same container, the same space and energy of love, peace, and joy. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Ave Saw breath, it is a beautiful breathing technique taught by my teachers of the yoga of self-ascension. You can learn more at shriankira.com. Simply, the Ave Saw breath is the inhale of, but as you're doing it, of that life, you're saying, hail, hail to the divine. You're saying Ave in your mind, hail to the divine. And then on the exhale, it's a sa. It is an audio verbal release of the sa. And what is that? For me, that's uh, uh, um, a release, but it's also a surrender to the moment. For me, sometimes when I like to do the Ave Saw breath in times when things are hard or rough and you're just wanting to ground and center yourself. Sometimes surrendering to the energies before you is exactly what you need to do in that moment. So, and sometimes the energies can be absolutely fabulous, and sometimes they may not be. But having to surrender and acknowledge that energy so that you can move past it is the first thing you need to do. And the Ave Saw breath definitely helps that. So, we're going to do three of those. And remember, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and think Ave on the inhale and Saw on the exhale. Here we go. Ave, Sa. Ave, Sa. Ave, Sa. Oh, thank you. So wonderful to be with you all here today. And we are streaming our show live today at Oneness Talk Radio, onenesstalkradio.com, Oneness Talk Radio YouTube, and Oneness Talk Radio Facebook live. So we hope seeing you all there. There's chats in all of these locations, and they do get streamed to me here. And I would love to chat and co-create this hour with you now. And moving forward would be absolutely amazing, because that's how we co-create this hour together, is through the chat, through the process of chatting with one another, with co-creating with one another. One day I'm going to get that good old call board in, but me and technology don't necessarily get along very well, so I am just going to do my best with the chat for now, and then we'll move on forward, maybe in the next year. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution for next year, is to get the call board up and running. We'll see. But I am just so pleased to be here with you. Pop in the chat and interact with each other. That's how we co-create the hour together in this beautiful container. And I am so pleased to let you guys know about all of the things that are happening within the community. So we're going to do all of our beautiful left brain things that are happening, and then we'll move on into today and the topic of today, which I think for many in the spiritual community, this might resonate a little bit. So the things that are going on in our community are numerous. First, I'd like to just let everybody know that I will be doing a new moon circle again on this new moon. We just had our full moon of consciousness last night. I hope everyone was able to go out and enjoy the moon for a little bit. It was overcast here in Ontario, but I was able to at least go out and breathe the nice warm air that's still here in November, and just sit out there for a few moments, absorbing the energy of the moon, even though I couldn't see her. So I hope you all were able to do that for sure. And the new moon will be on the 23rd this year. So I will be hosting that new moon circle. And if you are interested in that at all, please drop me an email at waterloveandlight@gmail.com, and I can get you on the list for the new moon circle. And it's a beautiful time. We come together, we share stories, and then we also do our own sharings of what we may have created for the month that month, and what we're hoping to create in the next moon cycle. So it is a beautiful, inclusive community, and I would love to see you there. What else? Oh, our books. We're as a community of the Yoga of Self-Ascension, we are coming together, and with our various works of art, poetry, short stories, stories of their journeys from their journeys of spiritual healing, emotional, mental healing. So we're all coming together with bringing our stories together, and we're going to put them in a book of inspiration that we hope to be able to give to the world, and sell and use the fundraisers for our global Minga projects. And the global Minga projects, again, if you want more information on that, just head on over to shriandkira.com and click on the global Minga header that pops up. They there's so many beautiful things that the community is doing, and I love the fact that just the community is coming together right now for this beautiful 17-day challenge of consciousness. So every day for the next 17 days, we are coming together in the global Minga group, and we are sharing a few of us are sharing our experiences right now. We're talking about our experiences with peace, and then we're going to move on to love, and then finally joy, which are the three anchor points of the Yoga of Self-Ascension. So we're moving through peace now, and we're going to be heading into love on Saturday. So we're doing that every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just head on over to the Global Minga Face group page, and we'll see you there every morning, 10 a.m. And what else do I have to tell you? So many beautiful, joyous things going on in the community. Um, mm, Let me see what else. What else? What else? What else? I think that might be it for now. Amazing, amazing things. Global Minga also is reaching out, and they're helping Indigenous communities, and helping the Amazon and the Indigenous tribes in the Amazon. Also, their plant lore and stuff, assisting in the preservation of that. Those kind of things are so sacred and important, I think, moving forward for all of mankind. And also, there's the peace pyramids going up. The first one has already been placed in Ecuador at Tosa Blue Mountain. So if you are at all in the vicinity of Ecuador and ever want to visit Tosa Blue Mountain, go to the Pyramid of Peace there. That is another global Minga project that is near and dear to all of our hearts for sure. Oh, there's the last. I was like, I know there's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that would be the Ascension Renaissance books done by Shri and Kira. Those are now out for those of you in the Yoga of Self-Ascension community, and some of you in Oneness as well. The Oneness community will know about Shri and Kira, and they have just released two new books. In fact, ebooks. They can be purchased at Amazon.com. Oh, Yeah, Amazon.com. I almost said .ca. Amazon.com, and head on over there and make sure you get your copies today. And if you're interested too, that you do have the ability to buy for others. So we do have this beautiful bundle package going on. But if you wanted to learn more about the bundles and the books, again, please just go to shreyankira.com. You can learn a little bit more about that. But I was honored to be able to take part in the launching of that, and it is they're two perfect, beautiful works that really do distill the essence of what the yoga of self-ascension and living in the yoga of self-ascension for 20 years, what that entails and what that is taught to Sri and Kara. And they really are truly two beautiful, uh, concise, distilled books of self-ascension. So I do recommend you head on over there for sure. Amazon.com. So I'm just going to take a swig of my coffee. I don't know. I've been trying to get off of caffeine lately, and I've been drinking more decaf. But I thought I might need a kick this morning, so I put actual caffeine in this. So we'll see if it helps or not. So how has your week been out there, everyone? How has your week so far manifest since I last saw you? Well, the energies for today may assist in some things. I know it's in some areas of the world, it's getting a little chaotic, and changes are happening fast, and we're having to adjust to them on a global scale. And I'm beginning to feel that myself in some areas. Um, and so I think maybe the energy of today fits in well with that, but it also fits in well with our topic too, which is starting over, or especially for oh, I'll get into that in a little bit. I don't want to get too sidetracked. I want to get the sacred numerology out for today. So the sacred sequence for today is a number. It came out to a number 8. So the energy of today is the 8, which is perfect in so many ways, because I like to think of the 8 not necessarily as the 8 like this, but you just flip it on its side. And for me, it's just the infinite symbol turned almost like an hourglass. So I like to think of it just as a kind of a cockeyed infinite symbol. So the 8 for me is just birthing energy, infinite energy, potential energy just sitting there, right? But it means the sacred spinning lotus of archangelic infinite energy. That is actually what the 8 means. So the spinning lotus of archangelic infinite energy, and it is protection and commitment. So here's what came to me when I was feeling into the energies this morning. It was step forward in the shield of crystalline light. You are protected in your commitment to your higher self and service to others. It is time to step forward. Come right up to the plate. Your steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust has brought you this far in the game, and remaining in this energy will continue to support you forward, whether you walk, do a base, or a home run. Just coming up to the plate or the lotus ensures your movement forward. So come and take a swing. I don't know where the baseball metaphors came in or why they did, but they just kept running through my head. And I was actually, while I was doing this, I was kind of envisioning um, a bit like A League of Their Own. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that, where the women, it is a true story, in fact, actually. Well, based on a true story, I should say. Um, and I was envisioning this. Maybe it's my grandmother calling to me, because my grandmother in her youth was actually scouted by the people that were scouting for women to play baseball in place of men, because the men had gone off to war to serve. This was in World War II. And so the men had gone off to serve, and the women were so they lost their favorite pastimes and all of their sports. So they started at not just like in the factories and other jobs around the that the men had been taking place, the women were actually being recruited for sports programs as well. And I think that was kind of the birthing of women in sports. And the League of Their Own is based on a true story. And my grandmother was actually scouted very similarly to as these women were in the League of Their Own. So I literally had this kind of the stepping up to the plate and not people not necessarily rooting for you because when the League of Their Own first started, they weren't necessarily rooting for the women. They were thinking this wasn't going to work, but they played their heart out. They gave everything they had, that 100% steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. And you know what? They were protected. And whether they whether they got walked, whether they had a base run, whether they hit a home run, they stood up to that plate and they were there with their steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. And they played their hearts out and they won the hearts of America because of it. And so a little bit of personal history mixed in there. That's what inspired action is and awakenings is all about, is just those stories of inspiration that we all have inside of us that we can bring out to the world and to talk about. I never I hadn't planned on talking about my grandmother, but that was what co-creation does, and the energy of this co-creative moment. And it just goes to show you, you never know when things come at you, inspirations come at you, and you're inspired to get up or inspired to speak about that. Do so with steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust and love in yourself, because you are an intuitive, creative being. And if you get that inspired action, that's your heart singing to you. That's your soul singing to you, saying, yes, stand up, step forward, put your foot up, swing the bat. You have got this, right? So I just love the way today is co-creating, despite the fact that my animals are trying to get into the room. So I do apologize for any noise that is coming through. There are so many energies going on out there in the world right now, and so many people are finding themselves in places they never thought they would end up, meaning they're having to start over. And many of them are having to do so later in life. And I think for those of us who are within the spiritual community, the self-ascension community, I think many of us have had to start our lives over many times, and for many different reasons. And I'm just going to share with you a little bit of, you know, my thoughts on it and where I'm going with this. So, when for those of us who are in the spiritual community, a lot of times we we try something and it doesn't work and we kind of fall backwards, or at least this was my experience. I fell backwards in the pit of darkness and that the night of darkness, the dark night of the soul. There we go. Got the wording. The dark night of the soul. And you kind of fall back into that dark night of soul until you think you found something else that's inspiring. And usually, at least for me, my experience was I would listen to the advice of other people. Well, why don't you try this? Or why don't you try that? And they were all coming from a beautiful, meaningful place, right? Your loved ones, when they're giving you advice, they aren't necessarily coming from a negative place. They're usually coming from a meaningful place, especially if you're having to start over. And so we start over, at least I would start over from that position of, oh, okay, well, yes, each time I was kind of inching closer towards things that I wanted to do or I thought I wanted to do. Um, but they still had that coloring of what other people thought I should be. So success in this area of life, it's success in that area of life, ability to do this, ability to that. But those weren't necessarily who I was or what I wanted to be. So even when I started over, I was always starting over with the tinge of somebody else's energy or, you know, some society's energy. So I never really got started again my way, in my heart, in my own way. And so each time I started, I would get to a point where it was not fulfilling anymore. It was becoming um, more of a burden. And when the things that you love start becoming a burden, then you no longer love them anymore, right? You no longer want to do that anymore. Or there's something about that thing that's not doesn't quite fit you perfectly. And the reason being is because it's not meant for you perfectly. You may have listened to somebody else or taken some advice or just took the opportunity because that's what you had in front of you at the time. And so you thought that that's what it was supposed to be. Um and we usually come out of it with that, well, I I didn't succeed. I didn't, and I have to start over again. And that's how I think maybe we can change this idea of starting over again is stop looking at our lives as episodes where we've had to start again, but change it to being more of a place where um, the world changes around you, but you stay centered and calm in your cross of perfect balance. And that's where I was speaking to on my Global Minga challenge this week when we were talking about peace for the 17-day challenge. I was talking what peace meant to me on the inside or just peace meant to me in general. And for me, it was the experience or the ability to walk into the experiences of the world around me as they change, but I don't. I stay centered and in my peace, love, and joy, regardless of the events that are going on around me. That I can see the emotions and I can be in those emotions and understand and enjoy those emotions for all of their shades. But I am not those emotions and I can let them go, right? So I know a lot of us have that problem. Letting go of emotions. We like to hang on to them because we think they define who we are, but there are emotions that we just have for the events that go on and around us, and if we can acknowledge that we have them, no matter the shade, for good or ill, however you wish to see it, if we can acknowledge them and say, "You know what? I get it. I understand where those came from, and I'm gonna let them go because I don't need to have those anymore. I see that. I understand that. And I can move past that." And each time you're able to acknowledge and see those emotions and move past that, the less and less those triggers that you have that make you fall into those dark nights that then force you to start over, um, they they become less and less, and the triggers go away until they eventually fade, and you're able to go into the world, into the changes, through the changes, that spin and stay in the center of who you are. That, for me, is peace, is to be able to see the world, through the eyes of everyone being their higher self. Everyone has their own role to play in the world around us. Everyone has their own journey, and I'm not going to interfere with another's journey or allow another to interfere with mine. And for me, I started over September 1st, 2016 at 6:01 in the morning, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I have a picture that's time-stamped with it, so that's the reason I know. And there have been so many changes and so many things that have popped up in my life that I've started and stopped or have had started and then changed direction. but I'm not seeing them as starting over again. It's just a flow of life, and I am riding my raft to the best of my ability, enjoying the scenery and the experiences that go on around me to the best of my ability. And should things happen or something comes up and it looks like the stream is not running straight or smooth and that maybe some rapids are coming up ahead, well, in my calmness and balance of myself, I'm able to think about what it is that I need to do very quickly in order to ride the storm, weather the storm, get past it, and move on, and not have it derail and make me fall backwards into that darkness where I think I need to start over. So when you're able to kind of pull yourself up and find out what you want to start over with in your own heart, I think that's the key, is what is it that you want to do? What is it? Who is it that you want to be? And that's usually where the spiritual journey starts. Where is it? Who is it that I want to be? What is it that I want to do? Those are usually the beginnings of a spiritual journey, the questions we ask ourselves at the beginning of a spiritual journey. So maybe that's your start over point. But then as you keep going on your journey of healing heart, body, and mind, because they're all interconnected, right? Your heart, your body, your mind, you're all interconnected with one into one unit, one body to experience this existence. So they all should work together in harmony. Um, and when your body is in that sense of fear, it gets all tight and clamped up. So you know when your body is in the flow, it's relaxed, it's calm, it's able to stay in that point. Same with your mind. When your mind is not in flow, it's got the negative chatters going on. It's thinking about other things. It's not where it needs to be. It's usually on survival or what it thinks it needs to survive. And then so your heart, if you're not in flow, you're just kind of pinched off. Your last one, you feel pinched off, you feel like you aren't connected to anybody or anything. Those are all kind of the states of what we're like when we're all tight and in that point of darkness. But once you ask those questions to yourself, who am I really? First, you have to acknowledge that to yourself, though, too, right? You have to say, okay, this is where I am. And that's how my journey started. It was me waking up going, okay, this is where I am. And here are the choices I have before me. And I chose to try again. I chose to start my life over again, but this time it was the start of my life. My life. And I would follow my own heart and my own path, and try to if the outside voices came into me, if they came in with love, I would acknowledge them and say thank you and allow them to happen because your family, again, that this is just my experience. My family, friends, they mean well. But I'm going to stand firm in who I am and let them know, no, that I don't think that's really for me though. But thank you. I see where you're coming from. And then for those that are giving you advice that you just aren't going to take, well, I'm pretty sure you can handle that one on your own. But we all once we start from that place, that that start over from the place of who you are without that kind of outside interference for the love of yourself, um, you'll find that you you pull yourself out of the darkness, yes, but you might find that you're no longer starting over again, even when things happen. You're moving through them in that calm place because now you're not all bunched up. You're not all stressed out. You're not in that fight or flight mode that your body and mind has managed to get you into throughout your lifetime. And you're able to relax a little bit more and understand a little bit more of what's going on around you, that you don't need to necessarily, you need to react for the rapids up ahead, but you don't necessarily need to overreact, or underreact for that matter, or else you might lose cargo or whatever the case may be. But you're able to stay in that cross of perfect balance and interact with the events that are going on around you without it flapping you, without it taking you backwards and moving you into that place of darkness that you, most of us, all know too well. Um, and we love, I have learned to embrace that and see that again. Um, I like to just look back at the hard times and feel into how I was at that point in time so that I can understand myself a little bit better, so that I can understand where I was at that starting point. And so that I can say to them, okay, I can say to myself, that past self, um, I see we've tried that. It was great. We learned these things, this thing. We learned how to do this. We've learned teamwork. We've learned so many beautiful experiences. Um, and trust me, it works out all fine in the end. I like to just, I do. I like to have that conversation with that myself. Um, and I literally pull myself into the vision. And I don't know if you, this is what you guys do, but see yourself before you. See yourself at a starting point where you thought life was gonna go well, and then something happened and it didn't work out the way you had it planned. But you might have some feelings about that. But if you start back at the start point and you can envision yourself, yes, this is what happened, and we understand where you're coming from. We love you. These are all the experiences we had. These are all the joys. These are all of the things we learned, good or bad. And we are just doing great now because we were able to get stronger for this. We were able to use this skill here. We were able to use that skill there. And when you are able to immerse yourself into that thought or image, it, I don't know about you, but it almost lets that energy go. I'm thinking back right now to a time when that happened to me, and I'm loving this person and seeing them with their tear-streaked face and their red nose and just loving them, and them seeing the glory and glint in my eyes and love for them, the hope that can be renewed in their face, in your face, in the face of you. This is you still, remember? But because you're at the starting point, all of those energies that no longer serve you for the whole experience can be released right there. They don't have to be acknowledged or felt any further because you can look back at the whole experience right then and there and say, this is what we did. This is how it worked out. And aren't we glorious because we came out of it? And that releases all of that energy. And that start over is now that smooth, rippled stream of energy that you can call upon and say, this worked here and that worked there. And I got this experience and that experience and all that negative stuff that didn't serve me and no longer serves me, even moving forward from that point on. I am letting it go and I am being with this stream of energy moving forward in perfect flow and harmony because I am staying in my cross of perfect balance. I am staying in my heart center, and I know that I am protected because today is the energy of the 8, and I am protected because I am in my steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. And when you get that kind of start over, all the other start overs are just become the middle of the stream that you can call upon and pull forward and not have the darkness come with it. It truly is an amazing, amazing thing. Oh, what else do I have to share with you? Oh, I went somewhere there for a minute. Thank you for letting me take a drink there. What else do we have? Oh, these were just more physical notes, notes about the physical world that are going on around us, and I want to throw it out there. Namaste, Sarah. Namaste, Dorothy. What's up? Lots are up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a great place to be, and we're just talking about starting over. Um, and one of the things I think I was meeting with 2 lovely ladies a couple of weeks ago. One's a member of our community and the other I just met. And we were talking about, and we're all the ladies of a certain age, 50 plus. And we were just talking about how we were seeing the women that were in our age group looking around, and especially the pandemic, because it kind of made everybody pause and take a look around them. And I think the women too got a sense of empowerment with the pandemic because they learned that they could seriously, easily from home work, juggle their kids, their family. They learned how to make it work. And I think that really empowered them to realize that they can do more than they had given themselves credit for. And so I'm seeing so many women in my Facebook groups that were from my high school and friends in high school and whatnot, in college, university, women of my age that are beginning to say, what can I do to add to the world? I'm not necessarily starting over, but I'm adding to the world. And to myself and to the joy within myself. And they're finding all of these ways that make them happy and then going out and spreading that happiness to others. And they're starting their own businesses, craft businesses, healing businesses, coaching businesses. It's amazing to see, and I am absolutely loving it. And then all of the young people are stepping forward too with all of the changes that are going on. They are just stepping up and stepping forward, and it just makes my heart sing because we are I'm not halfway done. I'm gonna be here for a while, but I am a woman of a certain age, and I have children that are now in their 20s and 30s, and the world is for them and my grandchildren, our grandchildren, and we need to kind of be that custodian of the world around us, and then try and, if we can, try and bring the communities together so that and into that state of balance and peace, love, and joy. So when shocks happen to communities or societies, they themselves can come together and weather the storm. And I think in a lot of ways, many communities did come together in the pandemic and have since been coming together more and more and more since the pandemic has come out. And it's not complete. Things are still moving forward in the outside world, in the world of density. But like I said, if you can stay in that centered point, you don't need to fall back into the darkness where you have to feel like you're starting over. And if anything, what I would like to hope you take away from today was starting over is for you and you alone and what your heart is saying to you and what your soul is saying to you. not what is best for the pocketbook, not what is best for prestige or for, yes, we need to have money to keep going in life and that kind of thing. But if the reason for picking those lanes are because of money or because of prestige or because of opportunity that, well, heck, there's nothing else out there. Why not? Well, hey, if your heart says to it, if something comes to you like an opportunity out of the blue and your heart says, oh my goodness, that's for me, jump it. But if you're just taking it because that's all that's out there, is your heart really in it? So again, if you're starting over, make sure you're starting over from your heart and your heart center and keep moving forward. It doesn't matter how tiny the step, how big, enormous the step. Forward is forward, no matter how fast, right? I always love that saying. Forward is forward, no matter how fast. So just keep moving forward and you'll never have to start again because it's you that's starting over, not you and somebody else, or you and this thing, or you and that event. You are starting over right from the get go. And you are able to look back on the whole of you with unconditional love, releasing judgment, opening up your compassion and opening up your compassion to yourself. You do that, hold steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust, peace, love, and joy in who you are, and starting over will only be one more time. At least that has been my experience. And I really hope that that is your experience as well. I am vastly quickly running out of time here once again. Sarah, I am so honored that you could be here with me. Thank you. Uh, the forward is forward no matter how slow. Yes. No, forward is forward no matter how fast. And the first time I ever saw that saying was it was a cute little turtle and I put it up on my Facebook as my cell phone page whenever I clicked on it and lock screen. And that was on the very beginning of my journey, very beginning. So probably not shortly after September 1st, or sorry, September 6th. I think I very quickly put that up on my phone. And it was just this little wee cartoon of a turtle. And above it said, forward is forward, no matter how slow or fast. I can't remember if it said fast or slow. One of them. It works either way, but I guess it depends on your frame of mind. Some people might see slow as a negative, some people might see fast as a positive. It's all in your perspective, right? Just like everything else in the world. That's what consciousness is teaching us. And that our perspective, it doesn't have to be shadowed by someone else's. That it needs to be from our heart and for ourselves. Well, I have I'm going to just quickly double check to make sure I've said everything that I wanted to talk about today for all of you lovely people. Um, I don't want starting over to be a scary thing for anybody, and I hope that if you've watched this, this might help you put that energy into a different frame of mind, in a different way of thinking, that you don't have to. Thank you. So that you don't have to, that was my cat Jasper. Actually, it's my son's cat Jasper. That you don't have to put it in that more negative way of thinking, that you can see that just simply as moving past the rapids, as moving through the whatever event it is in front of you, and that you're going to hold true on the inside so that the outside doesn't have to be so jarring for you. Alex, namaste. Alex says, thank you so much for your sharing and words of wisdom. We appreciate you. This is Kristen. Oh, Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. This is it's a beautiful community, the Yoga of Self-Ascension community, the Oneness Talk radio community. I hope you have a chance to listen to some of our other hosts. They're absolutely amazing. Marcy, Patty, and Jerry, Jess, there's so many of them. So make sure you head on over to the other Oneness Talk Radio hosts and check out some of their shows too, because they do an amazing job. And Jerry and Patty just had a new show last night. So why don't you go out and check out their new show? So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, um, it has been an honor today. I'm going to sign off a little bit early today. We've got some things going on around the house, so we've got to get moving on all the things that are happening, going on in the world, and all of the changes. Embrace the changes. Don't see them as scary. Embrace them as just another little whirlpool in the river that you've got to circle around a little bit and then go right back out. But use that whirlpool. Use the force, the centripetal force, to propel you down the river a little bit further. You don't have to stay in the whirlpool if you don't want to. You just have to put your rudder in and pull a little, and you'll pop right out and move forward. So until we see you again next week, I hope you all have an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous week. And you get all of your shopping done, and that you go out with peace, love, and joy on your face. Smile at everybody in the stores. Enjoy life at its fullest. Embrace that holiday spirit and just radiate peace, love, and joy wherever you go. Until we see you again next week, namaste. Love you.